a top contributors list of the top 10 contributors to the group over that last month, and I was one of them. And this one guy chimed in, "Hey, congratulations!" in the comments. He's like, "Hey, congratulations, guys! I want to give each of you a chance to sample and test out a product I created to store all your private keys on." And of course, red flags went up. Damn. Yeah, sure. Hold my private keys. And we kind of blasted the guy pretty hard, but he kept his composure and it's cool. And obviously after learning and talking to him, he's used to it because it's a lot of people were skeptical. And so he sent me a downloaded it to my own USB device. And there's some encryption in it. You download the program. It doesn't stay on the computer. You download it onto the flash drive, and there's a spot to store all your passwords and private keys. And so I told him, I said, "Look, I'll test it out. I use fake private keys just to check it out." And he said, "Yeah." He said, "Even once you're using it for real," he says, if you in your mind want to mix up a couple of the words in that seed phrase, because they typically give you 12 to 20 words as a recovery phrase, he said, mix those up. Maybe know that the second and third you always flip around or whatever your method is. He said, but test it out. So I tested it out. Couldn't find any trace of the information on the computer when I was online. But, obviously I still recommend people, hey, when you want to use it, disconnect from the internet, make sure there's nobody connected to you. And it's really a cool program because it's on a flash drive. And, I still keep a physical copy of my private keys, my backup keys, my passwords. It's another option for people. And so that's something, potentially that, say, maybe he has the Exodus wallet downloaded on his computer to where he can have his stuff in there, but then he can log out and log back in with his stats just by being able to pull up the password, So that.
For those who are unfamiliar, Wayne, can you give us a little backup for what the seed phrases are? Where do the seed phrases come into cryptocurrency?
Yeah, so your seed phrase, whenever you create an account, you typically going to set up a password, and then they're going to give you a seed phrase that's usually, like I said, 12 to 20 words. And you've got to write them down in order. You want to save them. Now, perfect example, don't store it on the notepad on your phone, right? Don't store it on a Word document in your computer, right? You want to protect it. You are the bank. You are the security. One thing, if crypto is going to bring bank to the unbanked that allow us to operate in a peer-to-peer environment without relying on a bank to approve our transactions. But in return, we've got to be the vault keeper, the security. So you want to protect those, right? You want to have them backed up. So prior to meeting this guy, so the guy with that company, the name of the company is SafeLedger. I think their website is safeledger.tech. But anyway, I recommend people now to use that. But prior to that, it was, hey, write down your private keys and keep them in multiple locations, geographically different locations if possible, right? Because I've heard stories of people that maybe had their private keys and it wasn't in a fireproof safe. And they had 2 copies of it, but it was both in the same house and the house burnt, right? And that's an extreme case, but, it's lost, right? Now, if they'd have been in a fireproof safe, it'd have been safe, right? Well, I'm in South Louisiana. Our issue here is flooding, right? And granted, my house hasn't ever flooded, but if it ever did, I'd want to make sure I'd have a separate backup. So having something like that is crucial just to make sure you're protecting your information. But yeah, so that's typically whenever you say, normally you would contact a company and say, hey, I forgot my password, and they would verify your identity and go, well, you are that person now. So they're saying, okay, you forgot your password. Let's put your seed phrase in so you can log in. And that's typically, you got to put the words in order to verify. And it's just random words that are generated. Now, on top of that, I always recommend, if you have anything that you're logging into with a password, one, make sure your password is diverse, not something you use on everything, right? A lot of people want to be lazy when it comes to security, but make it different. Even if you got to write it down, or even if, for me, it's something that means something to my childhood, but I mix some stuff around so nobody could even guess it, right? So that's typically one thing you want to do. But whenever possible, if it allows for 2-factor authentication, you want to allow that as well. Okay. Whether it's Google Authenticate or Authy. I prefer Authy, but some platforms don't support it yet. So I use Google Authenticator. It's an app you can download on your phone. It's a time. They also give you like a backup